Hey everyone, it's Matt aka Tech Ranger, and today I'm very excited to be finally talking about StarUI on the Xbox. I was really looking forward to this one coming to Xbox because the UI in Starfield, while there has been a lot of quality of life type things, it's not the most aesthetically pleasing sometimes. So like in the Outpost UI, for example, and then the crafting interface, all the stuff is there, but it's just kind of hard to navigate. So that's why for something like Inventory, I ended up going with Praxis UI, but that only applied to your inventory and then all of the shop's inventories. So it wasn't anything that would change the looting interface and Outpost and crafting or Ship Builder. But now we have something that will actually cover all of those things and then some. But with that out of the way, let's take a look at StarUI finally for creations on the Xbox. First thing to go over is what is StarUI. StarUI is a menu user interface mod that aims to cover pretty much every menu or user interface in the game. There's limited functionality in some areas with a controller. The color coding seems to be functional only, and you can't change that, at least not yet. This is mentioned in the mod description for the all-in-one version, and there's probably going to be more support for this mod moving forward because I got a feeling that this one's going to be pretty popular. So even with that, this is still effectively StarUI. The majority of features are there, it's just on the Xbox instead of only on PC. A little bit of context for what you're going to be seeing in this video. I like to use a few different UI mods, one of which is the power names on the HUD. So you'll see that above the health bar here, as well as the ammo HUD. Combined with the ammo HUD icon here is what you're going to see down below. Those are two separate mods. Around the compass, you're going to see some colored map icons. These are a part of a different mod. So just so you all know, these are other user interface mods that I'm running with StarUI. First thing with StarUI, which I alluded to in the intro, is that there are different versions of this mod as well as an all-in-one version. Why is this the case? Well, it's because you can combine StarUI elements with other UI mods, like mentioned Praxis UI Inventory, for example. If you like that more than StarUI, you can use another element of StarUI like the HUD. You just wouldn't want to use something like StarUI Inventory with Praxis UI Inventory because those would most definitely conflict. The first part of StarUI that I wanted to look at was the HUD, or the heads-up display. So pretty much anything you're looking at, whether it's a non-playable character like someone just walking around, or if it's an actual item in the environment. If it's another character, you'll see the name of that character or NPC, and then if it's an item, you'll also see what the item is in the top right with a little tag, just like you would in the main game. It's just moved. There is steal protection with this mod, so if you're looking at something that you would be stealing, it'll show you that pretty clearly in the nice red item box in the top right, and then also showing you the steal icon, and it's red, so don't take it. If you do want to steal something and you're standing up, you'll just press the button and it won't allow you to. So you have to crouch or be in stealth in order to actually take it. That way you're not accidentally taking things. You probably also noticed a colored bar below the item name, and that will tell you whether or not it's worth picking up. This is a feature I think is more helpful for newer players, as if you played Starfield for a while, you might not find this, pardon the pun, as valuable, but it is a really cool addition. One of my other favorite things about this part of the mod is the looting. So I like the original UI when you're looking at containers. This was very similar to Skyrim or Fallout. It was very easy at a glance, especially if there was a lot going on, if you were in a firefight or something like that. But now with the icons, or the colored icons in this list, it makes it a little bit easier to see what you're looking at. The box for the item will also be displayed directly to the right of the container. I think this helps keep you from actually having to open up the inventory and hit transfer to look at it full screen. But that does bring us to the next part of this mod, which is the StarUI Inventory. With StarUI Inventory, or StarUI All-in-one, you'll see in your inventory at a glance that there's a lot of changes just right here. The rarity of any of your items will show here, but there is a general blue color denoting that it's your inventory. And you might be wondering that the rare color in the main game is blue. Well, that did change slightly when we're looking at it here in the inventory, more of a darker blue. So like Praxis UI that we looked at previously here on the channel, there's a lot of information to digest. There was also a lot of information added in the main game, but it wasn't all showing in the list view. So here you'll pretty much see everything that is on an item card, but there's a lot of different things here over on the left. Those are all your categories for weapons, armor, that sort of thing. You can also move between these columns and sort things to your heart's content. So if you push the left stick or left on the D-pad all the way, you will be able to actually go through the different sections or categories. You also might notice some subcategories on some of these sections. So if you move the right stick all the way to the right, you're only going to be able to scroll through the individual items. On a category that has subcategories, if you hold LB and move up and down, this will actually move between those subcategories. For example, let's look at some of the readable things that you pick up in the game. You pick up a lot, so there's a lot of subcategories for that. So when you press LB, you'll see it says StarUI down there, and when you press that, this allows you to move between these subcategories and then gives you some other options as well. You can sort this like you normally would with X, and you can even refine that even more by adding some temporary columns for some of the other values and things in the game, like DPS, damage, energy, physics, all those things. These additional columns may not be the most helpful thing to most people, but it's really cool that it's there, and it does look nice with that extra little menu. I actually found some of these subcategories really helpful in terms of healing items because there's a treat column, so you can quickly see the icon associated with whatever affliction that you have. One last thing that I wanted to mention that I thought was pretty cool was that each menu does have a different color associated with it. If you're buying from somebody, that menu interface will be green, and then you'll see these arrows signifying that whatever you buy is going to go into your inventory. On the flip side of that, if you're selling, it's going to be yellow, and you'll see those arrows pointing the other way. The light pink interface signifies that that's coming from your ship going to the merchant. Next thing to take a look at would be the ship and outpost menus. These are pretty similar, so I wanted to put that in the same section. So whenever you go and want to upgrade your ship, you head to the local ship vendor and you want to view or modify your ships. Like with other things in Starfield, this little info card here on the left is actually going to be where all the stats are for an item that you're hovering over to upgrade. But now with StarUI, you have this nice little menu here. So when you click into something, that menu will load if there's a bunch of stuff, but you'll see all those columns there and all the relevant information that you might need in order to pick whatever part you're going to upgrade to. This also translates to building, and then there's a new menu that actually houses the categories instead of combining everything into one, which is really helpful again because you can see all the stats that you might need to. Switching over to Outpost and decorating, that menu system is pretty much the same. So if I go to decorate something, you'll see that little menu down in the left. Go through your different categories. There's not a lot here because I'm just decorating my ship. The item card that shows what you'll need to actually craft something is the same as it is in the vanilla version. And if you click on something with some options, you'll see those options in another menu. I think this is probably the most helpful at an outpost. In the vanilla game, everything was just combined in that one menu on the right, and it was a little cumbersome. I could see why that decision was made originally, but it is nice to have this category menu and then be able to go to subcategories within those menus and just go from there. It's a lot easier to see everything with the cool icons that were made for these menus. I think the only downside here would be if you have 3 different menus going at once, it can be a little bit cumbersome and it could be hard to see. Last but not least, let's take a look at the StarUI Workbench or crafting part of this mod. So at any workbench, this is the new interface that you get. It's a lot easier again to see all of those different categories, and then one of my favorite things is actually seeing the elements in the cost. The only downside to this would probably be that you're not going to really know what these icons are for a while until you learn them. It's not too much of a worry though, because that item card is still going to be on the right telling you what you need. You can expect the same treatment by going to something like a spacesuit workbench, and here I really like the colors because the rarities actually show really well with this particular color. And you'll also see some green and red color coding if that particular upgrade is good or bad. Seeing everything front and center is pretty helpful. As far as upgrading things, you'll see what you currently have equipped and what you can't do with a little red 1 here if you don't have that material, a green if you do. On a weapon workbench, this largely looks the same. The background color is just red like it was in the main game, but there is a lot more to look at in these different columns, and with some upgrades you're adding more damage, so there will be a damage column as well as value and mass. Not a drastic difference from the vanilla crafting menu, but still a nice and helpful one. And that's going to do it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Like I said, I was really excited about seeing this one come to Xbox. The changes are pretty big, and I just really like stuff like this. So that can definitely help improve the experience for me. So I hope it does for you as well, but let me know if you have any questions in the comments down below. I'm currently using the all-in-one version along with some other interface mods that I had previously just loaded underneath. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye.